There is a task you have been avoiding. You know exactly what it is. It would take 20 minutes, maybe less, and the part of you that planned to do it weeks ago is still waiting. Instead, you opened something else. You told yourself later. You meant it. You have been told this is laziness, a flaw in your character, a failure of discipline that better people somehow do not have. That story is wrong. The thing pulling you away from that task is not weakness. It is one of the oldest survival instincts your brain still carries, and for almost the entire history of your species, it kept you alive. By the end of this, you will never look at your own procrastination the same way again. Start with the world your brain was actually built for. For roughly 300,000 years, your ancestors lived as hunter-gatherers, and the defining fact of that life was uncertainty. You did not know if you would eat tomorrow. You did not know if the herd would return, if the rains would come, if you would survive the season. The future was not a calendar. It was a fog. Think about what that did to planning. A modern human plans for a pension 40 years away. Your ancestors could not plan for next month with any confidence, because next month was not promised. Drought could empty the landscape. A wound could turn fatal. A rival group could arrive. The single most reliable fact in that world was this moment, the food in your hand, the safety of the fire right now. In a world like that, a strange kind of logic takes over. A reward you can take right now is real. A reward promised for next week might never arrive, because you might not be there to collect it. So your brain learned to weight the present far more heavily than the future. Take the food now. Rest now while you safely can. Act on what is in front of you, because in front of you was the only certainty you had. The ancestor who saved the berries for a better day, and then did not survive to that day, left fewer descendants than the one who ate now. You are descended from the ones who acted now. Economists have a name for this. They call it present bias, the tendency to value an immediate reward far more than a larger reward later. In 1992, the economist George Lowenstein at Carnegie Mellon University laid out how steeply that discount runs. Offered a choice, most people will take a smaller amount today over a clearly larger amount in a year. The further away a reward sits, the less real it feels. Your brain is not being irrational. It is running a very old calculation that once made perfect sense. The problem is what that calculation does to a modern to-do list. Your tax return, your unanswered email, the report due Friday. None of these are in front of you the way a ripe fruit once was. The reward for finishing them sits in a fog called next week. And your brain, built for a world where next week was never guaranteed, quietly discounts it down to almost nothing. So you reach for the thing that is real right now instead. The video, the snack, the tidy little task that gives you a hit of done. This is not you failing. This is your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do, in a world that no longer matches. There is a second layer, and it lives in a specific war inside your skull. Two systems are fighting over that task. One is your limbic system, ancient, fast, emotional, the part that wants comfort and reward immediately. The other is your prefrontal cortex, the slow planning region behind your forehead that thinks about consequences and next month. When you procrastinate, the ancient system is winning. In 2004, the neuroscientist Samuel McClure, then at Princeton University, published in the journal Science a study where he put people in a brain scanner and offered them choices between sooner and later rewards. When they chose the immediate option, the emotional limbic regions lit up hard, the same circuits tied to instant gratification. When they held out for the larger delayed reward, it was the calm prefrontal cortex doing the heavy lifting. Two systems, two timescales, one decision, and the emotional one fires first and fires loudest. Notice which one is older. The limbic system is ancient, shared with animals that have never planned a single thing in their lives. The prefrontal cortex is the newest major addition to the human brain, and it does not even finish developing in you until your mid-20s. So when you sit down to do the hard task, you are sending the youngest part of your brain into a ring against a part that was running the show hundreds of millions of years before planning was ever invented. This is why willpower so often fails. You are not lacking some moral fuel. You are asking the youngest, slowest part of your brain to overrule the oldest, fastest part, in real time, every single time. That is an unfair fight, and evolution rigged it long before you were born. Which leads to the part most people get completely wrong. You have always been told procrastination is a time management problem. It is not. The science says otherwise. It is an emotion management problem. In 2013, the psychologist Tim Feichel at Carleton University and Fuskia Sirois at the University of Sheffield published a study that reframed the whole subject. They found that procrastination is driven by how a task makes you feel. When something stirs up boredom, anxiety, self-doubt, or resentment, your brain treats that feeling as a small threat, and avoiding the task makes the bad feeling go away instantly. You do not procrastinate to save time. You procrastinate to escape a feeling. Seichel called it giving in to feel good. The moment you switch from the dreaded report to anything easier, The discomfort drops and your mood lifts. Your brain logs that as a win. It just learned that avoiding the task is rewarding, so the next time the task appears, the urge to avoid it comes back stronger. You are training yourself one small escape at a time to flinch away from the very things that matter most to you. That is the trap. The relief is immediate, which your present biased brain loves, and the cost is delayed, which your present biased brain ignores. So you get a quick reward for avoiding, and the task sits there growing heavier, until the dread it generates is bigger than it ever needed to be. There is one more cruel detail. Sirua found that procrastinators consistently report higher stress and worse health over time. The very thing you do to feel better in the moment makes you feel worse across your life. Your ancient brain is solving for the next 10 minutes. Your actual life is measured in years. So why does this matter tonight, when you sit down with something you have been putting off? Because once you see the real mechanism, you can stop fighting the wrong war. You are not going to out-discipline a 300,000-year-old instinct, but you can outsmart it. The instinct only fires hard at the distant, foggy reward. So shrink the future down until it stops being foggy. Do not commit to finishing the whole thing. Commit to 2 minutes. Open the document. Write one line. The present biased brain that resists a reward in next week's fog will happily act on something that takes 2 minutes right now. Because 2 minutes from now is a future it can actually feel. And name the feeling first. Before you call it laziness, ask what the task actually makes you feel. Bored. Anxious. Afraid you will do it badly. That feeling, not the task, is what you have been running from. Once you can see it, it loses most of its grip. The next time you catch yourself avoiding something small and important, remember that the pull you feel is not a defect. It is a 300,000-year-old survival strategy, perfectly tuned for a dangerous and uncertain world, firing inside a safe and predictable one. You are not lazy. You are running ancient software in a world it was never written for. So tonight, when you reach for the easy thing instead of the important one, try this. Do not promise yourself an hour. Promise yourself 2 minutes, and let your oldest instinct work for you for once. What is the one task you have been avoiding that this just put a name to?